happened was Hiranya Das made a deal to directly pay to the government. So that way he cut out the tax collector, who became extremely envious and wanted to get vengeance, get back in. Well, it was actually, it's 1,200,000 gold coins was the tax. It was 12 lakhs. That's still only $300 million. More than that, because that time purchasing power was much greater. So he was collecting 2 million gold coins and should have delivered 1,500,000 to the government. But he was only giving 1,200,000, thus making an extra profit of 300,000 gold coins. Seeing this, the Mahaman Chaudhry, who was a Turk, became his rival. He sent a confidential report to the government treasury. He brought the minister in charge of finance. He wanted to arrest Hiranya Das and Govardhan Das, the two brothers. But when they got the inside news and they escaped. So instead he arrested Raghunath Das. Here's Raghunath Das, he just wants to be Krishna conscious. Varsha told him that you do your household duties responsibly, but you think of me. And now his uncle and father, they're cheating on their income tax to make more profit. And he gets arrested. There's nothing to do about this in So he was like collateral. Now you tell us where your father is, otherwise we're going to punish you. The Chaudhry went to beat him. But when he saw Raghunath Das's face, his mind changed, he couldn't beat him. So he would just orally chastise him, but he was afraid to beat him. There are two reasons. One, because he was a devotee and somehow Krishna was protecting him in my heart. Second, because he was from a Kayastha community, which is a kind of a mix of Kshatriya and Vaishya, and they're known to be quite ruthless. So he was afraid that maybe if he beat him, then later on, then he would have faced some problem. So the two things he didn't the Kayasthas were very ruthless. So he was afraid. Then one day, Raghunath Das, he thought of a clever way how he could get out of this. Amar pita cheta hoya tumaduri bai, bai bai re tumara koloho koro sarubodai. My dear sir, my father and his elder brother are both your brothers. All brothers always fight about something. Sometimes brothers fight amongst themselves, sometimes they have very friendly dealings. There is no certainty when such changes will take place. Thus I am sure that although today you are fighting, tomorrow you three brothers will be sitting together in peace. Just as I am my father's son, so I am also yours. I am your dependent, and you are my maintainer. For a maintainer to punish the person he maintains is not good. You are expert in all scriptures. Indeed, you are like a living saint. So hearing Raghunath Das's very soft voice and his nice presentation, the Mohammedan's heart became softened and began to cry. Tears are pouring down his beard. Today you are, I accept you as my son. By all means I shall have you released. He informed the minister and released Raghunath Das and began to speak to him with great affection. The elder brother of your father, he is very less intelligent. He enjoys 800,000 gold coins. I am also a shareholder. You should give me some portion of it. No, you go arrange a meeting with me and your uncle. Let him do whatever he thinks best. I shall completely depend on his decision. So like that, Raghunath Das had to arrange a meeting and they worked out some deal. Little for the government, little for the Chaudhary, little for themselves. Everything was back to normal. So like this for over 1 year, Raghunath Das, he was passing his time like a perfect businessman, getting in all this kind of, that's why it's like materialistic family life with a lot of cheating and this. It's sometimes described like an andakupam, like a blind well. You get in there and it becomes so much suffering, anxieties. Sometimes financial ends don't meet, sometimes there's disturbances in the family relationships, sometimes the children are creating disturbances and so many different problems and relatives or tax collector, whatever it might be, some problems are there. Then who's going to care? Everyone's facing the same problem, so nobody really, you can tell people, but they don't really care because everyone's in the same boat. So it's like if you're in a well, in some open field somewhere, you're calling help, help, no one there to hear. No one there to help. So, although you see, of course, this uncle, they were like devotees. Lord Chaitanya, they said they're like devotees. They would have classes of Bhagavatam. And they would have regular kirtans. But otherwise they were doing all these business deals and cheating, and it was not, they were not 100% into devotional service as such. They weren't using everything for, they were using something for Krishna, something they were using for their sense gratification. So Lord Chaitanya called them Bhakta Pride, almost devotees. They hadn't really fully got into the whole mood of devotional service. We discussed last night about Bhakti Bhav. There should be a mood of devotional service. They were looking like that mood, but actually, if you go inside it, they were really doing all kinds of stuff. They weren't 100% into it yet. So it wasn't an ideal situation for Raghunath Das, and he was very eager to be with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. It wasn't that he was disgusted or anything. He had everything he wanted: family, beautiful wife, wanted all kinds of money. But his calling was, he really wanted to join Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and be in his association. There was a chance in a lifetime. He doesn't want to miss it. Lord Chaitanya was in Jagannath Puri, and he was there with his family in Bengal. He wanted to go to be with Lord Chaitanya. But every time if he tried to run off before, his father had an army. And he would send his soldiers and capture him, had him under guard. So he wasn't able, so that's why first he tried to escape, and he got to Lord Chaitanya. Lord Chaitanya didn't even send him back, no. Don't run away from home, you just stay at home. But after 1 year and going through all this, almost he got whipped to death by this crazy Chaudhary. Then somehow he had to use all his imagination how to get out of this difficulty. Then he became more determined, I have to go to Lord Chaitanya. This is such a waste of time. I have to solve all my uncle's problems. And where's the devotional service? So then he started running away. It became almost a daily affair. He tried to escape, but they'd always find him. So then the mother said, Putra Batul Hailo Ihar Rago Rako Badia Tar Pita Kohe Tare Nirvinna Ihoya. Our son has become mad, she said. Just keep him by binding him with ropes. His father, being very unhappy, replied to her as follows. Indra Sama Aishwarya Sri Apsara Sama Esa Bandite Nari Lake Jar Mon Dadir Bandane Ta Rakibo Kamote Janama Data Pita Nari Parab Tukhangyate. Our son has opulences like Indra, the heavenly king, and his wife is as beautiful as an angel. Yet all this could not tie down his mind. How then can we keep the boy home by binding him with ropes? It is not possible even for one's father to nullify the reaction of one's past activities. Chaitanya Chandra ki bhavya hare Chai Chandra Chandra Bhatu ke rakite pare. Lord Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has fully bestowed his mercy on him. Who can keep home such a madman of Chaitanya Chandra? So then Raghava Pandit, he went to get some idea in his mind, he went to Panihati. There, he obtained an interview with Nityananda Prabhu. Nityananda was sitting in the Ganges under the banyan tree, accompanied by associates, kirtan singers, servants, and many other distinguished personalities. He was sitting on a rock by the side of the Ganges. That rock is to who has seen the rock? And Lord Nityananda was effulgent as millions of suns, hundreds and thousands of rising suns. Everyone sitting around him, seeing the opulence and Raghava Pandit, he became overwhelmed. At a distance, he offered his prostrated obeisances. The one servant pointed out, there's Raghunath Das. Hearing this, Lord Nityananda spoke to him. Are chodeli darasan, ayayachi tor korimu dandan. You are a thief. Now you have come to see me. Come here today, I shall punish you. Everywhere he goes, he gets punished. Richest family, everywhere he's getting that punishment. Even he goes to Nityananda punishment. Before this we'll see, it's a different kind of punishment. The Lord called him, and Raghunath Das didn't like just jump up and run there. Here I am, punish me. He just stayed there, lying down, playing his obeisances. So Lord Nityananda went there and forcibly put his lotus feet on his head. How many would like Lord Nityananda's foot on your head? And Lord Nityananda by nature, he is very funny and merciful. So being very merciful, he spoke to Raghunath Das that you're just like a thief, for instead of coming near, you stay far away. At a distant place, now I have captured you, I shall punish you. Make a festival. Feed all my associates. Yogurt and chipped rice. Hearing this, Raghunath Das was greatly pleased. He liked his punishment. By the way, we're giving everyone a chance to also share in this punishment. You can also be, this is a word from our sponsor. This This wasn't premeditated, it was spontaneous. You can sponsor pots from small to big. And share in the mercy of feeding. Actually, there's a pastime like that in the Tirupati temple. Lord Vishnu has to borrow money from Kuber to marry Padmavati. Because he came down from the spiritual world just as a simple Brahmin. And he had no money. So when it came time to marry, he said, "Where's the dowry?" So then he called Kuber and said, "You lend me some money, I'll pay you back." He's the treasurer of the Devas, so since Supreme Lord was there, he loaned him some money. So now they have that's the richest temple in India, because everyone goes to help the Lord pay back his debt. So they put donation in the donation box, and then he has to pay back every year his interest for the debt. After so many million years, the interest has come up. So here you also get a chance to help Raghunath Das, sponsoring a pot.
How much each?
Bhagavad Prabhu will tell you later. But I think it starts from $11 and goes up to $251. There's a range, so from the open the possibility for everyone to participate. According to your capacity. So Raghunath Das, of course, he didn't have any financial problem, but this is New Panihati, so New Leela. Raghunath Das sent all his people and bought all the yogurt, sweetmeats, bananas, sugar, all kinds of fruits. Whatever fruits are available. This season, anything you get mangoes, lychees, bananas. Not really jackfruit yet, it's kind of early, but you get coconuts, papaya. Yeah, jam, you get jam, kalo jam. I don't think, but that you don't get in America, for a lot of money. But that I don't know if it tastes mixed with yogurt. It's very usual taste. So those are the main, not so, but you get a lot of different varieties of it. So whatever was available, he got it. So that's what we do here. Whatever fruit's available, we get it. And we make a traditional mix that was like Raghava Pandit, Raghunath Das's type, and then we make some new Panihati mixes and different, which tomorrow will be preparing for their lords and lordships. So you got hundreds, 200 or 400 large round earthen pots, and 7 especially large pots. These are human size. 6 feet tall. Or mixing. In other words, he meant business. He was kind of, because you thought Lord Nityananda had a lot of friends. Once the word that a feast was on, his friends multiplied. In fact, everybody became his very close friends. Thousands of people, the word spread like wildfire that there's a picnic going on, and it's an open invitation, and everybody showed up to share in the fun. So they soaked chip rice and condensed milk and hot milk, and then half was mixed with yogurt. So some was so we do that also. It's like condensed milk and hot milk and some yogurt preps. Different things are added. This banana is called champa cola. So when I first was in Mayapur, then we just had 5 or 10 devotees, and we didn't have much activity, so I got really into the agriculture because we were surviving by growing. In fact, you can grow bananas, and it's not too much work, and you get lots of bananas. So I went to the Banana Research Center, where they are researching on all the varieties of bananas and creating new varieties and things like that. So then I met this banana pundit. He was banana wit. You know everything about the banana. Then, so he was telling me the glories of this particular, it's mentioned here that they mixed chapa cola. He was saying how this chapa cola, he said, in the entire world, it is the sweetest banana. But it also has the highest percentage of vitamin C. So if it's not completely ripe, then it'll taste sour because of the citric acid of vitamin C. So it has to be made completely ripe. And then it actually has a very high sugar, but it also has very high vitamin C. Like that he's going out glorifying. So many varieties of bananas. There's the butter banana. There's a special banana that tastes like, has a scent like strawberries. So we can imagine, especially here, they're getting the best bananas here mentioned is chapa cola. And they mix some camphor with it. Can we get medicinal camphor? Well, this stuff we burn, it's not visible.
It's petroleum.
Yeah, it's like
medicinal camphor.
Imitation camphor. You get medicinal from the pharmacist, and you gotta get either. You can put some. Then, so then they mixed, make a long story short here, and then all of Nityananda's associates would sit around him, Ramdas, Gadadhar Das, Murari, Kamalakar, Dhananjay, Jagadish, Mahesh, Gauri Das, Pandit, Ora Krishna Das. Ora Krishna Das was the one who arranged the marriage of Lord Nityananda. Udar Datta Thakur, Prabhupada was a descendant of Udar Datta Thakur. He never stressed that because he didn't want to make it a hereditary thing. He stressed his disciplined connection, not his family connection. But actually he's a direct descendant from one of Lord Chaitanya's associates. So there's so many people sitting up on this raised platform, then all kinds of learned scholars, brahmanas, pandits, and priests, they also came. They were honored and given a VIP seat. Everyone was given 2 pots. This means you all should take at least two servings. Chip rice, condensed, and yogurt. Everyone was sitting around on the platform, given the 2 different pots. So the amazing thing happened was, they put a seat out for Lord Chaitanya and Nityananda. He brought Lord Chaitanya there by his meditation. When everyone, thousands of people were all sitting there and sharing and eating their picnic, there were 2 pots, one with the milk and one with the yogurt. Then they started walking through the crowd. And Lord Nityananda, everyone was just chanting, Hari Bol! Hari Bol! Lord Nityananda, he was in the mood of a cowherd boy. That was his actually. With Krishna, he used to be Balaram and Krishna Lila, and they used to go in the forest with the cowherd boys, and they'd have picnics. So he was in that mood, remembering his previous pastime when he was here 5,000 years ago. And so he accepted all these people, they're just like his cowherd friends. So cowherd boys, little boys, they don't follow all the rules and regulations. They eat from each other's plates. They steal each other's sweets. So he was in that mood. He took from some of the people's pots and he put it in Lord Chaitanya's mouth. Now, Lord Chaitanya was there, but he was invisible to everyone. So he had taken the prasad and put it in his mouth and just disappeared. Lord Chaitanya would take some from a pot and then come and put it in Nityananda's mouth. So the people didn't know exactly what's going on. And everyone was so happy nobody cared. When they were seeing all these things, at that time Raghava Pandit came with a whole plate of lunch and said, "Here, I got your lunch for you." And Nityananda said, "Forget lunch." And said, "I'll take in the evening some lunch, but right now I want to just take a picnic. I'm here with my friends. We're having a picnic. We can have lunch later. We'll have dinner. I'll take dinner, no lunch today." Said, "I belong to a community of cowherd boys, and therefore I generally have many cowherd associates with me. I'm happy when we eat together in a picnic like this by the sandy bank of the river." "You sit down, you take two." Gave him 2 pots. So many people were coming. Everybody was in this mood of Pulina Bochan, Krishna and Balaram taking prasad. That's why it's also partly to take prasad out in the, it's not raining, out in the yard. So much ecstatic love and remembering Krishna, you see. Actually Lord Chaitanya is teaching us, we may not have that fortune today to be able to be with Krishna in his pastime, but if we remember those pastimes and if we relive them, then we can also, because spiritually remembering the Lord's pastimes and being with the Lord isn't different. Just like in many religions, they'll remember different pastimes of the Lord, his devotees. At Christmas time, quite often to see the manger and everything, and people remembering, and they get some emotions from that, some spiritual. So like that, this is actually our system, a bhakti system, through drama, through festivals, through remembrance. Remember the Lord's pastimes, and this gives us a spiritual, very deep connection with the Lord. On the emotional, spiritual platform, ecstatic platform, our consciousness actually relives those things to some extent, to our capacity. The emotions that the devotees are feeling there, we are there. Wasn't there one time on some TV show, you were there, you were there, something? It's like that, you are there. And then even, at least in a spiritual sense, that whole environment is created. We may not be able to see it. Just like the people couldn't see Lord Chaitanya, but he was there. So we want to create that Panihati, and Nityananda and Gauranga and all the associates, they're all here. So we do that through our service, through our memory. Those who want, this is Antilila chapter 6, 2nd volume. During the day, anytime, today, tomorrow, if you have any spare time, you can come and look and see some of these pastimes. But one way it says the whole time the sound that filled the universe was the name of the Lord. Everyone was chanting, Hari Hari! Hari Hari! Hari Hari! Hare Krishna! Hare Krishna! Hare Krishna! Hare Krishna! Krishna Krishna! Krishna Krishna! Hare Hare! Hare Hare! Hare Rama! Hare Rama! Hare Rama! Hare Rama! Rama Rama! Hare Hare! So who wants to help Raghunath dance? Sir Lord Nityananda. Haribo. Some of Lord Nityananda's associates actually are original cowherd boys from Krishna Lila that have also come back into this world to help Lord Nityananda. So they were like Ramdas, Abhiram. He never even left actually. It's another story. But Nityanam, Ramdas, and they actually were so ecstatic at this past time because they were so overwhelmed. So many people just came, they heard, they came to look what's happening. But they also fed. People that came to sell the goods, they are told after they sold all their clay pots and fruits and things, they say, you sit down, you also take. So the vendors, the curious people, apart from all the serious people, so many people, they're all given prasad. Even they didn't, so everybody has to take some. At least a few morsels. So many people came that it filled up the banks of the river, and some people had no place to stand. They had to go into the river up to their waist. We always said that this field across the road was very deep, so it reminded us kind of the river. Now we are there on the bank of the river with the festival. So this is a very famous festival. It still goes on in India. This weekend, it's the same weekend this time. Today actually is
tomorrow. I think the calendar is tomorrow.
Today.
I think today, yeah. And they go and they thousands, I mean really about 100,000 of these people show up for that festival there. There's no advertising. But I think we should do advertising for our festival. But there's no advertising. It's just by word of mouth. It's become such, it's been there going for 500 years that everybody knows. And ISKCON distributes prasadam there to at least 50,000 people. But everyone, it's the thing, whoever gets a pot, whoever mixes, they all, before eating, they all give out something to everybody. So it's kind of everybody is giving and everybody is receiving. It's Dinati, Padiginati. And Prabhupada said our ISKCON movement is actually for sharing our loving relationships with the devotees, giving prasad, receiving prasad, giving gifts, receiving gifts, sharing our inquiring about spiritual subject matter and hearing about Krishna's glories and the answers to our inquiry from advanced devotees. So this kind of sharing and loving exchange that was seen in the Panihati festival. We hope that this festival will be filled with loving exchanges amongst the devotees and everyone will be sharing. So that mood is still there even today. I used to go every year to Old Panihati until I got connected with New Panihati. That's when I came here, I said, you don't have a Panihati festival, you're a Panihati. And then we didn't really know what it was like. So since I've been so many years in Old Panihati, then we had a collaboration. So now I come here every year. So after the feast there was also a lot of kirtan and Nityananda Prabhu danced and ecstasy, and everybody was overwhelmed with his beautiful dancing, and so many other pastimes happened. Raghunath Das eventually got to see Lord Nityananda and he confided in his trouble. I really wanted, he said, I don't have any qualification, I'm just like a dwarf trying to catch the moon. I'm not qualified to be with Lord Chaitanya, but I really want to join him and to learn about Krishna consciousness from him and not just sit in the house and deal all these business things. So Lord Nityananda said that all the obstacles will be removed and you'll be able to reach Lord Chaitanya and you'll become the assistant of his private secretary. Actually, Raghunath Das became assistant of Swarup Damodar. We talked in the beginning that Swarup Damodar was the most confidential person who helped relieve Lord Chaitanya from his loving sentiments that were sometimes so intense it was unbearable. So he would relieve that by singing songs, and he knew the mood of Lord. So Raghunath Das became his confidant. So he got such a very special mercy. Because of this festival was the turning point. The mercy of Lord Nityananda. So I hope all of you, whatever obstacles you face in your spiritual life, whatever spiritual aspirations and desires you have to fulfill, it may be different for different people. I was thinking how in the modern world, for Raghunath Das to join Lord Chaitanya was a big step forward, but for some people just to be properly situated in their ashram would be a big step forward. So it depends on different people, different situations they're in, but whatever it is, whatever would be the ideal next step for your massive progress. We pray that the Lord Chaitanya Nityananda will bless you and that you all be able to achieve your desired Krishna conscious situation, if it's appropriate. So this is the background of this festival. It's sometimes called the Danda Mahotsav. Danda means punishment. Because this was meted out as a punishment. We have to do this punishment, take this punishment of feeding my friends. Actually, because Raghunath Das, if you want to get to Krishna, we have to go through Guru. It's important that we surrender to Guru, we serve Guru. We take help from our Diksha Guru, Siksha Guru. Of course, Raghunath Das had a Diksha Guru, but Nityananda was the Siksha Guru of everyone there because he was the Lord himself, he was in charge of Bengal preaching. So if you want to get to Lord Nityananda, to Lord Chaitanya, you have to go through Nityananda, just like if you want to get to Krishna, you have to go through Guru. So Raghunath Das, he had right there the Siksha Guru that could have given him everything, but he didn't go to him. He didn't go through Nityananda. Instead, he was just running away and trying by his own might. Or all he needs is a little mercy and he could do it. So this time he went for the mercy, realizing that by his own endeavor it wasn't working. Get the mercy of Nityananda, and so that was the punishment, was actually just a ploy to get him the mercy. To do so much devotional service that all his obstacles would be removed. He could achieve Lord Chaitanya. Any question or comment? Premananda Gaur. Das.
Guru Maharaj, can you tell us about the first time that you went to Panihati?
I don't know if there's enough time. What happened to Bhagavati? Maybe I tell that tonight.
I was wondering, when you were reading about the Muslims being in charge, it seemed that somehow or another they had, even though the Muslims were controlling, they could practice their religion. I was wondering if you could kind of explain how that was taking place.
Yeah, not all the Mongol rulers were so bad. Many of them had respect for the local religion of the people. I think Akbar was a good king, and he had many things developed and things like that. There were some who were quite favorable. Aurangzeb was the really bad guy who forcibly converted. He offered if you give him a bundle of Brahmin threads from Brahmins, then a big bundle, you could get so many gold coins, like a bounty. He wanted to annihilate all the priests. If you give him a bundle of scalped sikas, he would give you money. He was a real, he was really the one that put the bad name on. Otherwise, it was 1400 years of Mughal rule. It was one or two really bad guys. But most of them, they lived side by side with, of course there was a lot of impetus to convert people. And sometimes people were forcibly converted, but it was not, it was somehow restricted, because even after all that, even today it's only about 8%, 8% or 12% Muslim in India.
Right now, about 15.
15. Actually, Hindu and Muslim prophets, so they were living side by side quite amicably. It was the British that created a kind of divide and rule technique and pitted the Muslims versus the Hindus to divide India. So because otherwise India would have been so powerful. It would have had, be bigger than China. It would have 1.5 billion people. It would have been so big and so powerful that they thought it would be too big. So they created this Pakistan. The Pakistan problem is a product of British diplomacy at that time, according to many authorities. And we're still facing that problem. But before I said, like in Singapore now, they have a thing where they want any Muslim festival, all Hindus should go and Chinese should go and participate in their festival, and then the Muslims should go. They're trying to create an understanding. They don't want to have a repeat of India's kind of riots and things. So they're trying to integrate the Hindus and Muslims in Singapore. I was just told that to them ago. So that's. But it was very much free. There was a lot of respect in India. It was a shocking thing. Prabhupada said that the first riot was between Hindus and Muslims was like just before the partition of India. He was very so shocked.
Have you met, like I heard where Srila Prabhupada had a dream. We read in biography by where Prabhupada had a dream, and he said that he saw the planet of the pious Muslims. And I just wondered, in your experience, have you met these types of people who are somewhat esoteric and practice the Islam teaching? Or is that
I mean, that's true. Some very faithful people that do their prayers, and I haven't had the opportunity to meet with some very highly philosophical people. I met some very simple people that were very faithful, but I didn't meet with very learned people so far, because. Somehow the opportunity to come. But yeah, that's some very nice people. I met one Mohammedan was asking questions in one of our programs in Bangladesh. It was quite nice. I've seen in the Middle East, I've seen Arabs going around and carrying their prayer beads. And they're chanting tasbih, they call it. They chant, just like we chant japa, they go around chanting tasbih. Chanting, Allah Akbar, Allah Akbar, Allah Akbar, Allah So they go on chanting these prayers and while they're doing their shopping for groceries. It's like reading. Sometimes. See the devotees go to the grocery store with their shampoo. They use clickers too. So there are some, and there are some who are vegetarian also. And the Sufis, they believe in singing the name, but they're like a separate thing. But generally, they're not a vegetarian.
A friend of mine is a Sikh, and he has told me that Guru Nanak, the person who started the Sikhism, had met Lord Chaitanya at one point in Jagannath Puri. And it's recorded in their scriptures. I was wondering if it's
We've heard of that. We've heard of that. We don't have any objection about that. In the Granth Sahib, the Shastra, the scripture of the Sikhs, it continually says chant the name of Govinda, name of Krishna, name of Hari. When there was the big trouble about the separation of the Khalistan, they wanted to edit the Granth Sahib and take out all the names of Krishna, Ram, Govinda, and they found that it would be like over 2,000 names. It was like changed the whole book. It wasn't like possible. It's like some of the gurus of the Sikh Guru Gobind Singh. So it's quite. There's a group of Sikhs who chant the holy names that are vegetarian also. Okay, thanks.
Jai. My brother was here. There was one.
So what time?
I just want to thank you for the last message.
Yeah, we have our welcome Gokul Ananda Prabhu, former president of New Panihati and Prabhupada disciple. You're here when Prabhupada came, right?
Yeah. And when he was here, there was a guest who was regularly coming. He was a follower of Yogi Bhajan, who was a seer. And he started to ask some question, and I don't remember the question, but the Prabhupada's answer was that you're very fortunate to be a disciple of on-site Guru, Guru Naina. And he said that you should follow his instructions and chant Hari Rama. And I think he said something about reading the Bible. And I remember, if I'm not mistaken, you might have mentioned something about him having some association with Lord Vijnananda or one of Lord Vijnananda's disciples. So in other words, probably didn't answer his question. He just immediately went to the fact that you're very fortunate to have a one-type guru.
Yours is mother. 97. Oh, this is 97. No, I said yesterday. Is this all? Yeah, you were there. 97. Yeah. Yes, so you were in the same time. 5 years you were here. Okay. Very well. Very
Good. Mani Bhakti Swapadantikam Vandeyam Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatanvitam Tam Sadivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitam Scha Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpa Tarubhascha Siva Sindhu Revacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha.
And we've had a long history of doing programs together, but especially these interfaith dialogues that we've done for the last 3 years in different locations here in Atlanta. We also did one here at the temple about 2 years ago. But we're very thankful to have Thureya as part of our community, and we feel very honored to be part of her community. So let's please welcome Thureya Wingate.
Good afternoon. First of all, I want to give honor and praise to the Creator of the universe, who created all the families of man from the same blood, the maker and giver of every good and perfect thing, known by many names and many manifestations, but yet only one God. Some of us in this room relate to that God as Krishna, some of us as Allah, some as Jehovah, some as great-grandfather, and some as Jesus the Christ. But we all know that we're talking about that creative God, the was before there was a was, the beginning and the end. I want to let you know how honored and humbled I am to be here to moderate this awesome occasion. Today, I just love coming to the festival every year. I come to really eat. The great food that is always here. I want to thank Balabhadra and the organizers of this festival for blessing Atlanta each year with this and for inviting me. Now we're about to embark on learning more about a unique love story, the oldest love story in the world. It's about the story of God's love for mankind. And just as loving, caring parents do everything they can to guide and assist their children, God gives guidance and assistance for humanity. I think it was during the time of Abraham that he went into a covenant. And he told Abraham that he would never leave the world without guidance. And so today, we have small portions of that guidance with us. The sacred texts of these religions provide inspiration and guidance for humanity if we only but open our hearts and our minds to receive them. At this time, I would like to introduce our esteemed participants on the panel. And I want to say, first and foremost, that the order of the presentation and in the introduction is not hierarchical. It is by religion only, by the, the spelling. Alphabetical, thank you, it's alphabetical only. I'm very honored to introduce Luther Smith of the Christian tradition. Brother Dr. Smith is Professor of Church and Community at the Emory University Candler School of Theology and the convener of the recently organized Interfaith Children's Movement of Atlanta. The next presenter panelist The next panelist is my esteemed brother, Brother Imam Hatim Hamid Ullah. He's an imam at the Atlanta Masjid of Al-Islam and the author of several books, including The Attitude of the Quran Towards Science. Representing the Judaic tradition is Jacob Cobb. Brother Cobb has been involved in alternative Jewish education for 20 years. He co-founded 2 Jewish renewal congregations and initiated a resource group, JRR, which he will tell us about, which offers Jewish spirituality programs in the Atlanta area. Brother Cobb. Next we have Brother Tom Blue Wolf Goodman. He's an elder of the Star Clan, Eufaula Band of the Lower Creek, Eastern Muskogee Nation. He has been an active educator on a way of life that promotes a sustainable future for the earth for over 30 years based on Native American belief. Brother Blue. Next we have His Holiness, Hri Dai Ananda Swami. He is an original initiating guru of ISKCON, the Western branch of the Vedic tradition. He holds a PhD in Sanskrit from Harvard and has translated several sacred Vedic texts into English. Please join me in welcoming our esteemed and distinguished panel. I want to say before I introduce the process that I'm sure that you all noticed that the panelists is comprised of all masculine energy. But be it known that feminine energy is present. Okay, so it was an oversight, I am sure, of the head and not the heart. Okay.
Count on you, girl.
Let me explain the process. Each panelist will speak for approximately 7 minutes addressing the topic today. And that topic is the love of God as the basis of unity. Included in their discussion, we would also ask that they address the topic, how does your religion worship God? Then a secondary question we would want you to consider is how does your belief of God manifest itself in daily interactions with others? After the presentation, we will accept questions and or comments from the audience as well as the panelists. I would ask that when you ask your questions, please direct them to a particular panelist. I'm here simply to help to moderate, help to facilitate this process, help to make sure that we stay on time. And so you guys in the audience will see me get up when each panelist have 5 minutes remaining. I'm sorry, not 5 minutes, 2 minutes remaining, and then when they just have to end it. And when I say no more time, please just end it, okay? In terms of the questions from the audience, we ask that we know that there's going to be a lot of burning questions and a lot of desires to speak, but we ask that we respect our neighbors and give everyone a chance to speak first before a person asking a question asks another question. Does that make sense? Did it come out right?
Yes.
Okay. So without further ado, we're going to go right into our panel discussion and start with Brother Luther Smith.
Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yeah. No.
Now, can you hear me? Yeah. You can hear me now?
Yeah. Knock it out.
More, there. Now my time hasn't started for right now. I'm just check. Good afternoon.
No, it's good.
The theme, love of God as the basis of unity, is one to which I wholeheartedly say yes. That more than any kind of social engineering or political strategy or military initiative, unity is most likely among us through love of God. And that is a very difficult concept for people to grasp when they have seen religion as the basis for so much, not only conflict, but also so much atrocity in the world. But this is truly my conviction. At the same time, I am also feeling that love of God is perhaps in itself not enough. For people who love God deeply will often go to war with one another because they love God deeply. In fact, there are persons who believe that not only have they loved God so deeply that God knows thoroughly their heart, they believe that they love God so deeply that they know thoroughly God's heart. And consequently, out of such what I would consider to be arrogance about God, the notion that one has somehow or another trapped God in a box, the whole idea of unity is an anathema, is completely hostile to what they understand their own religious journey to be. But still I believe that love of God is the basis for unity among us. It is the basis for the fulfillment of what God desires for us, and that is to be a community of caring people, one with another. I think one of the most fundamental questions that emerges out of the love of God is a sense of who one is. That is, that one is truly lovable by the Creator of all that is. This, I think, is such a powerful experience for which we give gratitude and for which our whole life is set on course. A sense of who one is. But also out of relationship with God, out of love of God, is this question of who is the other? Who is the other? And sometimes the other is described as neighbor, and at other times the other is described as enemy. And I think if religion is about anything, it is about the capacity through one's love of God to have love for the other. Whether that love for the other is family, is friend, or enemy. One of the important statements in the Christian tradition from Jesus is to love your enemy. And I think it's one of the harshest, one of the most difficult statements for Christians to fulfill, to love one's enemy. I think it is also intriguing to me that sometimes we have difficulty overcoming our differences, as many of us of various traditions love God, primarily because I think we don't really know our own traditions well. I'm here as a Christian voice, but I say to you that the Christian voice is very diverse. Anything that I am likely to say today, you can get 1,000,000 different Christians to disagree with me. And that is true for all the traditions represented at the table. In fact, it's very interesting to me that those who are newest to a tradition tend to be the greatest zealots for that tradition. The ones who basically bind that tradition, I think, in the narrowest way. But the more we know our traditions, I think the more we realize how diverse they are, how flexible they are, how growing and emerging they are. Also, the more we know our traditions, I think the more humility we have about our own tradition. Thea introduced me as speaking for the Christian tradition, and the Christian tradition that speaks of Jesus as God. Well, some Christians believe that, but not all Christians, that Jesus is understood to be God. Many in the Christian tradition, myself included, understand Jesus primarily as teacher, as model, and Jesus as Savior, not so much in the sense that Jesus is the only way unto salvation, though for me as a Christian, I find in Jesus that which is sufficient for living life to its fullest meaning as God would desire for me. For me, then, it's not to say, again, that Jesus is the only way, but that Jesus is a way sufficient unto salvation. And Jesus helped me in these last 2 minutes. To get back to this point in terms of otherness, then, for many Christians, others are those who need to be converted to Christianity. For many Christians. For other Christians, however, others are the ones with whom one enters into creative, loving relationship. And what I want to suggest in terms of the theme, and what I think might be most useful as we talk about our various traditions coming together in forming a creative community that focuses upon the love of God, that we understand unity not just as a goal of community, though certainly it is that, but that unity is also the process of transformation for community. It is the process of transformation and not just the goal. It's occasions such as this. It is gathering in each other's homes. It is meeting with each other's place of worship. It is in times, opportunities for argument and debate, perhaps even conflict, but hopefully continuing relationship that sustain community. For I believe that together we will better understand not only the love of God out of our own tradition, but together we better understand the love of God for us from God's heart directly. Thank you.
And express my appreciation to the doctor for his clarity in his belief. And I do believe that God has blessed every individual present at this occasion, and we thank him for that. I thank you for the invitation also. I like to say that this idea of love in Islam is a very powerful one. We believe that Allah is the name in which we choose, that the Creator has revealed to the Prophet Muhammad, prayers and peace be upon the Prophet, that this idea of love is not tribal. It's not a tribal idea. It's not something that is limited, as the doctor said, to one's own faith. And I do believe that if each religious organization or institution structured upon its words of revelation from the prophets that came, prophets of old and messengers of old, that if we establish ourselves within our own structures and look to go beyond where we are in our quote-unquote tribes and families, then we can manifest the whole picture that God wants on this earth. And I would like to say, today, I've been to many mosques, many masjids, and many churches. We've done dawah in many, many churches, interfaith dialogues, etc. But I have to be honest with you, in this Hare Krishna occasion, I have yet to find something on this level of love emanating in the environment. So you should give your own self a hand. I'm saying this. I'm saying this because as a believer in God and a believer in Islam, this idea of love and peace, and at the centermost part of Islam, the whole idea of Islam is peace. And you can't have peace really without love. There has to be some love somewhere. So God tells us in the Quran, He says, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, Ya ayyuhan nasu anna khalaqnakum min dhakira wa untha. And He says, O mankind, we have created all of you from a single soul, meaning that the first one that came, whoever set that pattern for all human beings, and we say Adam, you may call it by another name, but Adam was our great grandfather. And that's our daddy, you know. We try to find out what was that God gave Adam to unify his family. And this is what we see today. And it's a source of love to go beyond our tribes. So God says, and He made you dhakara wa untha. He made you males and females. But He created both the male and the female from one soul. And He said, I created you like this so that you could get to know one another. So there's different tribes, different families, different nations, you know, different organizations, different religious organizations. The delicate balance is found when we have the right relationship with God. If we can have the right relationship with Allah, with God, from myself, from yourself to God first, and show love for God. That's the deepest love. The priority for love is love for God. And then if the priority for love is met, and that the person is loving God with all of their heart, as they say, then they can come from that position of love and detect love in people, whether they are Hare Krishna, Christians, Buddhists, whoever they are. It's a one-on-one type of situation. The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, he said, you never get to know anyone until you spend time with them. Have you broken any bread with your neighbor? Have you drank any water? Have you sit down and drink some water, eat some rice with someone like I did today and made friends? Then this is where it all begins. This is what we want. And in our religion, the source of all love comes from God. That we cannot have love unless we get that love from God. So God says that He created you tribes and families so that you may come to know one another. Truly, God says, the most honored among you in the sight of God. There are some people that are honored, you know, there's a lot of people that are honored. But in the sight of God, from His view, or from God's view, the Creator's view, the most honored among humanity. It matters not what tribe we come from. The way that God looks, He doesn't look at tags and symbols. God looks at the heart of the person. And so God says, the most honored among you in God's sight is the greatest of you who have the most piety. The most piety, the one who's holding the piety, the one who's holding the humility, that one is seen by God as being the best and most honored among all of us. And God is He who is all-knowing, El-Aziz. He's the most powerful, and El-Azizul Hakim. So this is my contribution, and I hope that I would have probably had 30 seconds left, but I don't think I do. Thank you very much.
Of the 7 minutes of a presentation, to do something